minute. If everybody wants to introduce themselves and your organization and your favorite food to eat during this long holiday season in the chat, that would be great. I started. Kate, you and I put the same favorite food. That's so funny.
I'm not surprised.
Right, exactly.
The only reason I love fall.
Yeah. Okay, I think that, we've got some sweet potato love, cranberry sauce. Lisa, if I can recommend putting like satsuma juice in your cranberry sauce, it's so good. I do that instead of
amazing.
Yeah.
D the Busby from Instagram says delicious soups.
Ooh, yum. Yum, yum, yum. Oh, Melissa, we have pernil in my house. We actually do it on Christmas Eve. We do a big Puerto Rican meal, and it's like one of our favorite things. All right, well, let's get started. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep reading these and getting hungry. Okay, welcome everyone to the November FPAC Coalition meeting. Super excited to have everyone here. This is our last one of 2023. Somehow it's going to be 2024. I don't understand how time works anymore, but here we are. We are recording this meeting. And we are on Instagram Live. So just wanted to let everybody know that. So again, if you can introduce yourself in the chat with your organization and your favorite food during this time of year. Couple meeting etiquette things. If you want, we like to keep an active chat, so feel free to share in the chat. You can use the little raise your hand icon situation that they have there. We'll also sort of leave time for questions if you just want to unmute yourself at time. I know that we're all really busy, so if for some reason your mute gets turned off and you're busy, we will do you the favor of remuting you, just so that we can keep things moving. Don't feel any sort of camera pressure. We don't want to see what you don't want seen. So it is completely up to you. All right, great. So we're just going to get right into it. Farm Bill. We are still in Farm Bill season. Bryn and I went to the CSPI, which is the Center for Science and the Public Interest. They're funding some of our work. We went to their convening in DC just a few weeks ago. And one of the things we did was a Hill Day. You can see some of the folks here. Chelsea was also there. We had a good time. But you can see some of the folks here out on the Hill. We were super excited. The CSPI team, actually, they're the ones funding our DSNAP sort of research. And some of our DSNAP priorities that we identified through our work with it made it into their national Farm Bill priorities. So really excited to see that disaster SNAP and sort of the things that Louisiana kind of goes through, make it to that national level. I think Bryn's going to drop in the chat some of the Hill Day materials that we had. So this has some marker bills. Most of these marker bills are hunger related, but we also have some agriculture marker bills that we can have Devin talk about in a bit. I think Devin's here now. And it looks like there are some more people coming in. So if you can just introduce yourself, your organization, and your favorite holiday or fall food, that would be great. Yeah, so Bryn and I met with five. We had five policymaker meetings that Tuesday. It was a wild day. That was also the day that they were voting on the speaker. So needless to say, We met in hallways with folks. Everybody was checking their the TVs that they have going. But we think we made it was good to remind them of all the things that are really important for Louisianans on the ground. Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. So some updates. We are super excited. Senator Cassidy made the amendment, the funding amendment to continue to fund the Office of Urban Ag and Innovative Production. He made it bipartisan by co-sponsoring it. He was the first Republican to co-sponsor it. He did that thanks to our advocacy that we did with him. So really excited about that. Thank you, Devin. It passed the Senate last week and heads to the House. Is that this week, Devin? Do we know?
We don't know, but it should be soon.
Okay. And this is what they call them. I don't want to get too in the weeds, but it's the minibus, which they're like, they're passing smaller spending bills to sort of keep things moving, if you will. On timelines, the Farm Bill actually expired September 30th of this year. So like 6 weeks ago. And we don't even have a draft yet. So what we're hearing is that there's two sort of options that we're hearing. One is that we will get a continuing resolution soon, which we really need to get. And it will either be for June, which is the best case scenario, and they will reauthorize the Farm Bill. We'll get a draft. Everything will happen by June. Or if it's not by June, it won't be until 2025 because they don't want to do the Farm Bill during an election season. So that's sort of the timeline on it. It's kind of who knows. We are hoping there'll be a continuing resolution soon because there are some things that are impacted by the Farm Bill. So again, not to get too in the weeds, but there are things that are funded and they have mandatory funding. So no matter what, they get funded. But because the Farm Bill is not authorized right now, they're not legally allowed to operate some of the programs. So the money is just sitting there, but they can't do anything about it until they're reauthorized. So we're really hopeful for a reauthorization soon. The only good thing about it not being, the Farm Bill being very slow is it gives us more of a chance to talk to our policymakers and really sort of hammer in on the important things for Louisiana. So we do have what's called in-district event. So where you have an event, basically in the district and you invite the staff in the district and the policymaker to come. We're trying to have those throughout the state. We have the first one in New Orleans with Representative Troy Carter with a few farmers that is coming up. And then we're trying for more of them in the winter/spring of 2024. I apologize for this misspelling. That's embarrassing. But not surprising because even all the Farm Bill stuff has been wild, including apparently how I spell the summary. Devin, what have I forgotten anything in this quick overview of Farm Bill stuff?
No, I just want to clarify that just kind of like add one small detail that the continuing resolution is actually kind of important because the programs that don't have the legal authority anymore are ones that are deeply related to work that is done in the state. So FOTO or the Farmer Opportunities and Trainings something, sorry, not remembering, but it's FOTO and LAMP, the Local Agriculture Marketing Program. Those are two of the ones that currently don't have the legal authority to operate. So that continuing resolution really needs to pass.
Great, thank you. Any questions about the Farm Bill? Okay, cool. Farm to early care and education. Haley, do you want to chat more about this?
Sure. So we had the Great Satsuma Appeal that was last month and it was awesome. There are centers around the state that participated. 2 of our centers in New Orleans participated. I have some pictures, but they're grainy right now. I'm working on getting them fixed. But we have some pictures of the kids. They were all asking for seconds. It was a huge success in New Orleans. And we have our next statewide meeting Tuesday, November 14th at 1 p.m. So that's next Tuesday. And if you would like to be included in those, just send Alyssa or I an email and we will get you on that list to join the statewide committee. And if you know of a center that is interested in adding Farm to ECE to their curriculum, let us know. I'm looking to expand in the New Orleans area. We have 2 schools. We had 3 centers. Right now, one of them is in the process of fixing some licensing issues. So we're back down to 2 when we thought we'd onboarded another. We would like to, even if we are able to get 3 back up and running, we would still like to expand. So if anybody knows of any centers that may be interested, please send me an email.
Great. Thanks, Haley. Yeah, I can't wait to see. We'll put photos of the Satsuma Peel in our next newsletter. It's very cute. Kate, I will answer your chat in just a minute. I have reached out but have not heard back yet, but I will reach out again. Okay, and we are starting with our so the Satsuma Peel was our first foray into local procurement, which we are partnering with Sprout on local procurement. And so all the Satsumas were from our friend Mr. Lester and his farm. It was very fun. Bryn, I'll turn it over to you for the Eat Local update.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So over the weekend, we had one of our 2 yearly Eat Local bike tours. It started at the Crescent City Farmers Market Sunday Market. There were over 40 vendors, so many families, so many dogs, so many kids. It was great weather. It was an amazing start. And then we went over to Hay Cafe. We had some coffee. Some folks from Friends of Lafitte Greenway talked about their cypress planting project that they have going on there. And then we ended at Clessy's. I cannot recommend Clessy's enough. Their catering, their hospitality, they were great. I highly recommend them. They use local sources. If you're looking for any holiday party catering or end of the year catering, highly suggest reaching out to Clessy's. They also partner with several local organizations. In this photo, our friends from Audubon Golf are photoed. They were tabling. We also had some raw oysters. So everybody after the bike ride was able to enjoy some raw oysters and some red beans. Also, our friends at Veggie gave us some loofah and loofah seeds that we were able to hand out. Additionally, with some swag from our friends like at RF, we had temporary tattoos. It was a great day for a bike ride, and we're looking forward to having another one sometime between April and June. So moving into 2024, we've got a lot of exciting events. It's really exciting to see the Eat Local community come together and kind of be revived after a few years. So we're looking forward to launch our new website and our logo. We're going to have some local food passports and a lot of our favorite events, as well as some additional ones like happy hours and maybe even boat tours and farm tours. So yeah, if you're interested in joining that group, our next meeting is going to be November 27th at 1 p.m. You can email me, Bryn, at nolafoodpolicy.org to get more information, or reach out via our DMs if you're watching on Instagram.
Great. Thanks, Bryn. Okay, so now we're going to move into our working group updates. And we're going to start with our business development working group. I will pass it over to Eric or Chandra.
I'm here. Okay, yeah, Eric, you can go first.
I'm gonna go. Okay, thanks, Chandra. If you're not familiar, I am Eric Rothschild. I run the New Orleans Trap Kitchen Commissary and Incubator. I'm co-chair of BizDev, business development, with the lovely Chandra Telvin, and she will be speaking to a couple issues at the end of this. We had our last meeting was on October 18th, I think. And it was a really great meeting. We had there was a lot of new faces there. We had a great discussion, kind of far-reaching. We're always talking about permitting. We are looking ways to bring like a permitting, licensing, navigator back to the table, kind of a train the trainer. And then we've also had a lot of movement recently on the pushcart permit, which I'll address first. Yeah, and then also there's a great article in the Gambit talking about a lot of the challenges that street vendors face, and that's already dropped in the chat. Thank you, Bren. So starting with the pushcart permit, just a little bit of history around that. Basically, for years, Lucky Dog has had a monopoly on the number of permits. They had all of them, but a few. There was a fruit stand that also had some permits, but I don't know if they've been using them. So basically, Lucky Dog has been the only pushcart in the French Quarter. Over the summer, Lee Zurich, I think at Fox News, opened up an investigation dealing with the Lucky Dog monopoly. Councilperson Freddie King kind of got involved from there, and so now we're kind of at city council with opening this up. The initial, I guess, what they're looking at doing is opening up 5 permits, new permits, or the existing, out of the existing 25 or so. They're opening up 5 to currently approved push carts. That's a couple of them are like frozen treats and popsicles. Myers Lemonade has been a part of FPAC on and off over the years. He's one of them, as well as a hot dog vendor, Glizzy's by Papa. So this is going to be taken up at the next city council meeting on November 16th. So we're going to hopefully get a strong show of support. We'll be working with some of the vendors, and we also have a meeting with the some of the Vucare French Quarter organizations that are in opposition, I guess, to some of this. So we're working with them to kind of find a happy place on negotiations on, you know, what the permitting would look like. Some of those things include size of carts, you know, where on the street they can be. So we've Sinidra Taylor from Cody was kind of instrumental in kind of bridging the gap between Freddie King's people and the Vucare. So we have a meeting with them, Vucare tomorrow morning. But to discuss kind of what we want to do, we have a meeting at 2:00 today. So I'm going to drop that into the chat. So if you are interested in kind of hearing what our plans are and kind of the organization around the push cart, please tune into that meeting at 2 p.m. today. And if you do have any other questions, you can contact myself or Chandra or Sinidra about this. And one other thing kind of in the permit world that we've been talking about here at FPAC is the emerging business license. And that was mentioned in the Gambit story. So we don't want to lose momentum on that as well. You know, what we want to get this push cart thing through first and foremost, but we don't want to, we want to keep the doors open and the momentum going with those. So our next, we don't have a BDWG meeting on the books for next month yet, but we will probably be relying heavy on some of the permit discussions, updates on the push cart, as well as some of the fun topics that Chandra is going to tell you about now.
Thank you for that segue, Eric. So like Eric spoke of, we are, just to synthesize, there's no definitive ordinances or permitting currently coming through the city council to specify certain things. We're having a collective conversation with all of the stakeholders to try to get to the best solution with the current ordinances and if there's a need for modifications. So the meeting at 2 p.m. will have all of those parties. And then I see Melissa's on the call from Tulane. I also suggested you be woven into this to possibly act as a logic model supporter for once we get to looking at what exists, the gaps and the inequity, to then push out that. But Melissa, I'll talk to you. Doctor, I'll talk to you after this with Tulane University. And we also have, just to highlight what Eric said with the push cards, we're still looking at pop-up permitting. We're still looking at push cards. This is something that we're doing in tandem, but the push cards came at a heightened era due to the highlight, the documentary, and the news coverage. So we still are pushing through with, as Eric spoke of, the emerging permits and trying to look what that looks like. I know we've talked about that with Melissa's group as well. So there's a lot of synergy and conversations. And then I know if Evie's on the call or not, I know Geno Inc. is also doing some focus in NoFap. So all of these organizations are coming together looking for solutions for the food ecosystem. So that is a positive. Thank you to everybody that was able to make the FPAC Biz Development meeting and get really feedback from restaurateurs, food businesses that we can add to. So that's still the ask. So I know we're going to work with the survey data, Alyssa and Bryn, that we have to try to make it more robust and compile the needs of the businesses and the current gaps within it based on some of that survey input that we already collected through FPAC as a whole. And then finally, we are looking at funding and grant dollars to kind of support that train the trainer model, where we at one point visited looking at EDA and other federal grants, but how it's hard for people to navigate the current permitting system. And for those that are a novice to it, it is easier. And we found with Carolyn, just a few steps or points in the right direction, or who you need to research to get a particular license from, was really a game changer for businesses to excel and grow their business. So we're looking at how to kind of amplify and kind of multiply the Carolyns of the space so that we can support businesses, because we get questions one-off, all of us, but having a concerted effort for the train the trainer. So more details forthcoming. And then Alyssa put in the chat, the next meeting with City Council, speaking of the push cards, November 16th. And then Eric put in the chat about the 2 p.m. link today. Thank you all.
Thanks, BizDev. Appreciate y'all. Lots going on. All right, seafood. Marianne is not here. So Bryn, can you take that?
Sure. We actually met yesterday. The Seafood Working Group has a standing meeting the second Wednesday of every month. So our next meeting is going to be December 13th. So we're really working on bridging our connections. We have a lot of partners in our Seafood Working Group that work in coastal restoration and coastal preservation studies. So linking how that connects to seafood and seafood advocacy, and really leaning into the strength we have in coalition, the same thing that we do in this very meeting, in our FPAC general meetings. So thinking of ways that we can come together, how food and agriculture can be a solution to coastal restoration is really exciting. So this is a really good time to jump into this group if you're interested, because all of the partners are kind of going through a series of presentations, presenting some of the current actions and programs in their respective organizations. So it's a really good time to come into the group and kind of get a survey of what folks are doing as far as coastal studies, alternative oyster cultures, and some seafood advocacy at the state and federal levels as well. So we have some exciting things planned and for next year, some seafood dinners, possibly even some tours out to some of the work that the partners are doing. So if you're interested in joining this group, we are also looking for a new chair for this group. You can email myself or Marianne. Our emails are at the bottom right of the corner.
Great. Thanks, Bryn. This is our newest working group, and just super excited to finally have gotten a good rhythm with, you know, seafood in this. So thank you. All right. Food access, I will pass to Haley or Casey. I don't think Casey's here, so I'll
Casey
pass
couldn't
to
make it today.
Okay.
So I'll take it. Hi, everybody. I'm Haley, and again, speaking on food access. Casey, who is with Market Umbrella, Casey Davis, she also helps co-chair this working group. We decided, we had a meeting yesterday as well, and her and I decided that we are going to skip the November meeting. We usually meet the third Wednesday of every month. However, this month we are kind of waiting to hear back. We're creating questions to send out to organizations and community members to figure out what gaps we are missing in the guide that we would like to send out. So we are creating a SNAP guide about how to apply for SNAP, how to renew SNAP, where you can use SNAP, how to maximize your benefits, all pretty much any question that could be answered about SNAP for seniors, college students, anybody is going to be included in this guide. And so we are creating kind of like focus group type questions to send out to some organizations and community centers. Those will be finalized next week. And then we are going to send those out and wait for some feedback. So we're thinking our next meeting will be December 20th, but we also know that's the holiday season. So we're kind of going to get a feel for what everybody's feeling around that time. And if nobody is able to make that meeting, that's okay. We're hoping for an in-person meeting in January. We would like to just, you know, get some excitement rolling. And once we get that feedback, we will be able to then give kind of bullet point lists on what we need to add to that. And we can all kind of work together on who might have those resources. And so I will be sending an email out shortly with all of this updated information. And so look out for an email if you would like to join Food Access Working Group. As I stated, our current priority is creating a SNAP guide for community members to use. This will live on our website and Market Umbrella's website, as well as anyone else who would like to host it. And we would like to send it out to hospitals, food banks, anywhere that reaches anybody who is using SNAP. So it's a big guide, and it's going to be spread as wide as we can make it. So if anyone's interested, that is our current priority. And then hopefully once the Farm Bill gets moving, we will have more priorities with that as well. But yeah, feel free to email me if you'd like to join.
Great. Thank you, Haley. And I dropped Haley's email in the chat as well. All right, food production. Devin, are you good to do this, or would you prefer I do?
Yeah, I can do it. So yeah, we are unfortunately, okay, sorry, let me back up. The food production working group is for now one and the same as the A Greener New Orleans policy campaign. So we have 4 planks that essentially correlate to kind of the 4 greatest barriers to urban food production within our city across gardens, but particularly for folks that are market farmers. These are the kind of key barriers. So those are land access, water access, like access to city services or being able to move through city services, which we answer with an urban ag liaison position, and some adjustments to blight code so that regenerative agricultural practices are not cited for blight. So as far as that urban ag liaison position goes, we had some like really exciting forward momentum there, but kind of classic New Orleans, as we have gotten further into budget season, it's gotten a little bit muckied, and we are probably just going to have to come back again next year and make the ask. But we have secured some built some really solid relationships with council members, and specifically with the Office of Resilience and Sustainability. And in order to kind of tee ourselves up for this ask next year, we are asking folks to do public comment for the Office of Resilience and Sustainability's budget hearing tomorrow, saying something to the effect of like, I really support urban agriculture and I would love to see a city level position, if not this year, then in coming years. Yeah, that public comment is not yet open, which I think is personally a democracy and accessibility issue, but it should, based on how late in the day the public comments have been opening for the previous day's budget hearing, it should be open probably sometime after noon today. And those have to be in by 7 a.m. tomorrow. So feel free to be brief, but it would be greatly appreciated if y'all could submit public comments to support the campaign and support the position in particular. I will be there in person. The Office of Resilience and Sustainability will be their meeting, or they will be presenting likely in the afternoon. So if you want to come in person, I can like put you on a text list to let you know, like, hey, now is a good time to come down. Cool. I think there are some things in the chat, but I'm gonna move through this last bullet point and then I can kind of circle up if there are things in the chat to answer. We are still working with code enforcement to try and push out kind of like a three-prong solution to producers getting cited for blight when they're actually participating in regenerative ag. So we are doing some like changing the code itself and working with council members to move that through. Also doing kind of a public education component, primarily in terms of yard signage to say, hey, this is cover crop. It'll be gone by X date, because we know that it's oftentimes neighbors that are calling on overgrown lots or misidentifying overgrown lots as being blight. And then finally, or what is the third component? Oh, doing a registration process, or a very short and accessible registration process with code enforcement saying, hey, we're a farm and the way that we're using this lot might look different than y'all are used to, so don't cite us, please. Cool. Is there anything that I should speak to? In person is always preferable for public commenting, but we know that this is a really short turnaround time. So online is great. In person obviously is better. We have thought about putting this position within a different city agency, specifically within planning or public health. We've talked with folks that are in similar positions within other cities, and it seems like there is a kind of dynamic between placing the role in a kind of like technical or very procedural department like planning versus a mission aligned department like resilience and sustainability. And it seems like if you're going to seat hopefully multiple positions that work across city government, that seating that first position within a mission aligned department allows them a lot of flexibility to kind of move between agencies in a way that you might not get with planning, where you can kind of get siloed within that department or within the purview of that department is our strategic thinking. Is there anything else that I need to answer in the chat? Sorry, I was talking really fast.
No, you're good. I think that, yeah, we did like a tour of city offices, if you will. I guess it was about a year ago is when we started. So last fall, to figure out where would be the best fit, because there was lots of suggestions. Council had suggestions, the administration had suggestions, people who do this in other cities had suggestions. And ORS is the one that fit best for this particular one. We are also hoping, like Devin said, to get like a food access position at the city level. And that's and that will sit with not LDH, New Orleans Health Department, wrong health department. And then eventually to have like a cohort of folks all within city agencies working on food and ag related things. So it's really exciting. Okay, great. Thanks, Devin. Appreciate it. If you want to get on an email list to have us send you when public comment is open and some public comment suggestions that Devin has put together, please email Devin, whose email is right there, or drop it in the chat and we'll get you on that list. Okay, great. Okay, so our final working group update is our climate and disaster working group. We are retooling this group a little bit. Right now it's very farmer focused. We did some food access focused work in the spring and summer. If you're interested in joining that group as we work more, let's try to revamp the food access part of it. We we were very focused on trying to get things ready for hurricane season. Knock on wood, there wasn't a storm that we needed to activate for, but we are looking to revamp the food access piece of that. And then there is a saltwater wedge town hall for growers, so farmers and gardeners. So if farmers and gardeners are interested in that, that is next week. I don't even know what day it is. I can't even remember. Next week, November 14th at 7 p.m. On that very long link that Bryn just dropped in the chat. It will be on Facebook Live, and I think we're going to try to record it for YouTube so you can watch it afterwards. And I believe there may also be some conversation about the fire. That will not be the focus of it, but there will be some, hopefully, someone there to speak to the impacts on, again, farmers and gardeners. And we're super thankful to our partners at Sprout and LSU Ag Center Extension for putting this on. And then there's another disaster and climate event. This is, again, agriculture focused, but this is the Louisiana Farmers Climate Gathering. I'm not sure if any of the organizers are in the room to talk more about it. Devin, do you want to talk about it, or I can give like a brief overview?
I can talk about it a little bit. So yeah, we have gotten some funding to be able to support travel stipends for folks, provide lodging, and also to support folks that will be, or some of the folks that will be presenting. Obviously, if it's like part of someone's job, we don't necessarily want to double pay folks for that. But yeah. So that January 21st date, we are kind of packing that or billing that as more of a social emotional day, because this is in response to producers express needs to come together and connect, and that there is a mental health component, a social component to this. That is going to be kind of that first day, mostly oriented around those kinds of topics. And then the second day is going to be more of a technical day. So like, you know, how do you deal with a drought? How do you, like, what are some other kind of production methods that you could use, or things like that that are very, like, technical. We're still looking for partners. So if you are part of an organization that has something to contribute, that can look a variety of different ways, just let me know and I can put you in touch with the folks that are kind of bottom lining this. And I think Alyssa said in the chat that this is for farmers. So you're, welcome to come as an ally, but this is going to be, specifically for farmers to come together and be together and share space.
Great. Thank you so much, Devin. Okay, we are right on time. So now I'm going to turn the floor and the screen over to Dr. Melissa Fuster. I think I pronounced your name correctly. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced it. And you can see her very amazing and lengthy bio here, but we're super excited to have her. And so Melissa, I'm going to stop sharing so I can allow you to start sharing.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. Let me do the switch here. Can everybody see the screen? Good. Thank you. So I'm very happy and thankful to be here for this a short presentation of some of the work that we have been doing that actually Chandra alluded to earlier. Thank you, Chandra. This project is housed at Tulane University, where I have a position, but I do want to acknowledge that it has been a collaboration also with Dr. Megan Knapp, that she's also here from Xavier, and also folks from the Taylor Center at Tulane University. And what I wanted to do briefly, and the reason why I'm so happy for our time today, is that I wanted to tell you again a little bit about the project because of the short time, and and tell you some of our initial findings. And I'm doing this presentation using Mentimeter. It's my first time, thanks to amazing team members that helped me put this together. So we have a little bit of an interactive exercise to get your perspective on the work, and then an invitation to get you involved. So the project is called Voices at the Table, and the main driver behind this project is to see how can we develop incentive-based interventions. I'm thinking more of policy-based interventions to see how can we support food businesses with a current emphasis on restaurants, so that they can help us promote healthier and more environmentally sustainable diets. This work has, I started this work with restaurants in New York, where I was before recently moving here almost 2 years ago. And the work was, again, coming from nutrition, trying to see how can we collaborate with restaurants, because they have this rich culinary knowledge to make healthy food delicious, which I think it's something that we need to do, so that we don't only make healthier food easily accessible, but also something that people actually want to eat. And with that, another part of this work is also recognizing the importance of food businesses, of restaurants as economic engines in communities, particularly among immigrants. A lot of the work that I've done before was with Latin American restaurants. And here I've been bringing those lessons, including Black and Latino serving restaurants. So the way that I've been doing this work in New Orleans has been, we have done 2 main events in the spring, where we took a lovely group of people that you can see here. We took them to lunch at these really great restaurants in the city. One of them, the first one, was at Fritai, a really delicious Haitian restaurant, and our second luncheon was at Addie's Nola. And basically, as some of the photos show, what we have done is get different stakeholders together. We have had restaurants, along with folks like the New Orleans Department of Public Health. Chandra has been coming to these producers, just trying to get people together to create innovation, and also to bridge these two worlds. Moving forward, and actually the last slide will be an invitation for our next one in December. But a lot of these conversations have been, again, to how can we generate solutions, ideas, again, thinking more of policy ideas that then we can take through a quick testing and hopefully move them to real solutions. And I wanted to share with you some of the initial findings that we have. And what I want to do as I tell you a little bit about this, if please you can all go into menti.com, because then we'll have a voting exercise for this. So what we have been doing is that we got the feedback from the attendees, and what you see is some of the desired outcomes that the restaurants have expressed. And actually it does relate, as you can see, to some of the work that you all are doing. For example, there's a desire to foster more connections between local producers and restaurants, knowledge exchange between restaurants, building capacity. Of course, how can we offset the cost of healthier foods, increase customer demand? So many, again, the work that you do relates to this. And another one is to see how can we make healthy and environmentally sustainable portion sizes good for business? And that is a tough one that I keep here to see if we can, what can we do about this? So now, hopefully you can access the poll, and I wanted just to bring it here as a way to see from your perspective, because again, you have been, all of you in this group have been doing this work along these areas for a long time, and you have a lot of knowledge about this. And the exercise is for you to just pick the top 3 for you to see, to help us narrow down our focus a little bit, because there are many outcomes and many potential solutions that we can do within these outcomes. So yeah, maybe if we can take about 2 minutes for those of you here to just submit your vote. Hopefully you can access this online. Okay, good. Thank you. This is so cool. And actually, while we wait for votes, any questions or any feedback on just a general idea? It will be great to hear from you. Good.
Definitely seeing some foster grower and restaurant relationships in the lead there.
9698.
Yeah, this is good. And I want to say, you know, I have to leave this slide up, but I'll introduce the last one while hopefully votes keep coming in. The next slide will be an invitation for you to join us for our next not lunch. It will be mostly like a bruncheon meeting. And I know one of my team members, Lisa, is here, and maybe she can also drop the link to the to the Eventbrite. This next meeting will be December 4th. That's a Monday, December 4th, from 10:30 to 10 to 12:30. And in the next slide also you'll find my email, where even if you cannot make it to the next meeting and you still want to join or be a part of this, we'll keep having more in the spring. To please be in touch, and if there are folks here that you think we should be involving, also please let me know. So I think with that, it's just that, yeah, again, if I leave the slide, the voting will close. So I'll maybe, for the sake of time, I'll leave the slide now. Thank you so much for your votes. And if you're able to come to our meeting, we'll be again continuing to narrow down the outcomes for this. And then moving forward in the spring, the idea will be to begin just being more specific as to what these solutions can be, and use some community engaged design approaches to co-create solutions with hopefully some of you, and of course restaurants in the city as well. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Melissa and Lisa. That was really interesting and fun.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna take my screen back. That sounds weird, but okay. There we go. All right, we are winding down the meeting. Okay, so it seems like there are quite a few of us hiring. So just if you are hiring, drop it in the chat. And this is something that we can add to FPAC meetings in the future. If you want to send us things a week out, I'm going to say a week, Bryn, please correct me if I'm wrong. A week out, and we can certainly add those to the slides and the newsletter. Great. So we're going to do some community announcements. What's your organization doing, or your farm, or whomever? How can others get involved? I'm going to open the floor, but we have a couple slides of folks who have already sent us stuff. So feel free to raise your hand or drop things in the chat as we move along. And before we get to that, I did want to say that our next FPAC meeting is January 11th at 11 a.m. on Zoom. Before the end of this year, we will be sending out a survey to you all to find out like what's working with FPAC meetings. Are you getting our communications? What do you want to hear more about? That kind of thing. All right, I believe that Dr. Kelia O'Malley is here, so I'll turn this over to her to talk about the event they're having.
Thanks, Melissa and Bryn. Sorry. Yeah, we are co-hosting a webinar with some colleagues of ours at Penn State on Monday next week. Diego Rose, faculty in the head of the nutrition program at Tulane, will be talking about some of his research on connections between sustainable diets and climate change and health, and connection to policy. So information is here. There's no pre-registration, but if anybody would like a calendar invitation with all of the how to join information, I can send that to folks who are interested. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Kelia. I've heard Diego speak about this, and it's really interesting stuff. Yeah. And it looks like it's potentially approved for 1 CPEU. All right, and then I don't think that she's here, but Sankofa is having their sunset stroll next Thursday at their new wetland park, and it's supposed to be just stunning. So they have invited FPAC members. Part of someone from Sankofa's team was at Lobby Day with us in DC, and so it was really fun. What announcements do you all have? And while we're waiting on that, Bryn, can you drop the meeting survey in the chat? If everybody can fill out this quick survey just to let us know how this meeting was, that would be great. But please drop any sort of stuff that you have in the chat, or raise your hand if you have any questions or want to get involved with anything, or if your organization is doing something super cool. It doesn't even have to be super cool, just cool. No, it looks like we have at least one job in the chat, which is exciting. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, please take that survey for us. And we will see you all at the latest January 11th, but I'm sure I'll see a great many of you before that. And I hope that your holiday season, however long or short it is wonderful. And you get to eat all the food that we listed at the beginning of the meeting. We really do appreciate y'all.
Thanks, y'all.